Well, welcome to the Mission Books podcast. Today, we're excited to welcome Manuel Becker. He has written a children's book that's coming out this fall, a new edition. And Manuel has spent more than a decade working with unreached people in Asia. And he has a real love for writing children's books. His love for story began in his childhood when a simple book helped him understand the gospel. And he has 4 book-loving children who it sounds like have taught him a lot about what makes a good story exciting and brings the story to life. His writing is shaped most by his love for Jesus and the conviction that God's love never fails. So, Manuel, it's great to have you here today.
Thank you for the invitation.
So your book is really just about the greatest story ever told, the biblical story. And you say it has the power to awaken a child's heart to the beauty of God's love and its power over darkness. So you really, in this book, The Great Victor, you retell the gospel as an unforgettable adventure, and there's danger and betrayal and courage and redemption. So we're excited to hear more about this book today. Manuel, what motivated you to write The Great Victor?
Great question. Well, I grew up in church, so I learned about Jesus. I learned about the Bible from since I'm a toddler, pretty much. So I had it all in my head, like the knowledge, the Bible stories and stuff. But when I was around 12ish, I read a kid's book that was similar to my book a little bit. It summarized the biblical story in form of a tale. And when I read that book, I still remember God really touched me deep within. And it was like all the pieces falling into place. And for the first time, I understood the biblical story. I understood that God loves me. And so this book has changed my whole life pretty much, because that was the point where I said, oh God, if you love me so much, then I want to submit my whole life to you. I want to serve you. So I really do believe that stories have the power to shape worldview, to shape our view of God, to really shape our hearts. So I really believe in the power of stories. Like Jesus told stories, he used stories all the time, and they just can impact us on a level that abstract theology cannot. So having had that experience, I wanted to write a story myself that touches people in such a way and helps them to understand the love of God on a deeper level, hopefully, than we can only through a sermon.
Yeah, that's great. I love how this has stemmed out of your own experience as a child. Encountering gospel message. So I think that's really powerful. So who is the target audience for this book? Who did you write this book? Who was in your mind when you wrote this book?
When I wrote it, I actually wrote it for the Thai context. Being a missionary in Thailand, and there is no kids book like that. So I wanted to write the first kids book in Thai that tells the gospel. But now it has been published for quite a while, especially in Germany. And the feedback that I get is it's really for everyone. Adults love it just as much as children. So kids love it because the story is great. Adults love it because they get touched by good stories. And I think it's even a great gift for people who are not believers yet, because it packs the gospel in form of an epic tale. So it's entertainment for everybody, really.
Yeah, that's great. So what do you hope readers will gain from this book when they read it?
What people gain, more motivation was when I wrote it to emphasize that the gospel is much broader than just one theory of the cross or how the cross works. So I work with Buddhists, and in my early years, I used the gospel presentation that I had learned here in Germany, really strongly based on penal substitution atonement theory, and I used it in Thailand, and it just didn't work. It was meaningless to the people. So it just didn't touch their reality. It didn't touch their worldview. So I went back to the Bible and I was like, what should I do? How do I get them to understand the gospel? And what I started to see was that even in the Bible, Paul and the other biblical writers, they just used many different pictures. They used images, they used different words and concepts to explain what Jesus accomplished at the cross. For me, the gospel is by now more like a diamond. And when the sun shines in, like they're all different kinds of lights and colors that comes out. But we humans have the tendency to limit the gospel to one theory. But actually, the gospel is so much more. And one theme we can find throughout the Bible is the theme of Christus Victor, Jesus being the one defeating the evil powers. So that is how the Messiah is actually introduced into the Bible, as the one who crushes the head of the snake. So yeah, Jesus said he will give his life as a ransom to free us from the slavery to the evil powers. And I think this theme is just so beautiful, and it's throughout the Bible, but we talk, at least in the church context I come from, I never heard that before. So my heart was really to write a gospel presentation kids book with that theme in mind, because it fits so well for the Buddhist context, but as well for the Hindu and Muslim context, pretty much for the unreached, because very often they are trapped in fear or in the spirit world or something. So this idea that Jesus is the victor over the evil powers is really a gospel that they can understand, that touches their heart. So I didn't know any book that covered that, so I wrote one. And I really hope that when people read the book, they will be again amazed at the gospel, at the beauty of the gospel, at the beauty of the biblical story, and ultimately at the beauty of God and his love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I know that's one of the things that William Carey Publishing was interested in, is this like showing the full facet, like you talk about the diamond of the gospel and the different ways that we can tell the story in such a biblically faithful way. And I'm sure that this book will be helpful introducing people to other facets of the gospel story in their own context. So yeah, so thank you so much for sharing. I'm excited for our readers to get their hands on a copy, and I'm sure they will all enjoy it and love it, parents and children alike. So thank you.
Thank you.